What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Tide, and in today's episode, the next installment in my legendary blueprint review series. Now, I'd like to start things off by clearing something up from the last episode, which will be linked in the description down below. But throughout that video, I referred to the weapon as an epic variant, which I didn't realize until after the fact. Infinity Ward has changed the level of their rarities for variants in Call of Duty Modern Warfare. By which I mean they use the same color and symbol scheme as they did to denote rarity values in Call of Duty Modern Warfare as they did in Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, the last Infinity Ward-led Call of Duty game. There were variants in that game as well, and they used the same diamonds with small squares within them color-coded to each rarity. There was gray with one square for common, which I believe is green in Call of Duty Modern Warfare. There was blue with 2 squares for rare. 3 squares and purple was legendary in Infinite Warfare, and the 4 square orange was epic. Epic was the highest rarity in Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, and that's why I had epic variant reviews. And everyone kind of scratched their heads at the time, to be fair, like, why is epic higher than legendary? Shouldn't legendary be the highest rarity? But they never changed it. Epic was the highest in Infinite Warfare. Well, in Modern Warfare, they used the same colors, same symbols, same everything, but now they've changed the legendary and the epic. So now, epic is purple with 3 squares, and legendary is the highest, which is orange with 4 squares, and I just assumed that epic was still the same in this game as it was in their last game. They just changed it just to be a pain in my ass. So yes, they are legendary blueprint reviews. We're still only covering the highest tier rarity variants in this series. So in today's episode, we're looking at the M91 Old Wounds Light Machine Gun, and the way to unlock this one is by completing the Expert Gunsmith mission, which is one of the toughest missions in the game right now just because it takes so long, not because the mission is actually physically difficult. There are 9 tiers in the Expert Gunsmith mission, and they're all focused on weapon attachments and modifications, so the tiers are as follows. Tier 1, get 35 kills with 1 attachment on a weapon. Any weapon, put 1 attachment on it, very straightforward. Tier 2, get 10 headshots using a reflex optic. I would recommend using the operator reflex sight, which is often the first optic that you'll unlock on the assault rifles. That's the best one for this challenge. I've noticed other reflex sights not tracking, so use the operator reflex sight and get 10 headshots. Tier 3, get 70 kills with 5 attachments. That's all of the attachments on an LMG. And whenever it asks for 5 attachments, the perks that you can put on an LMG, for example, those count as attachments as well. Just put 5 of any of the gunsmith items on a weapon, on an LMG in this case, and it will track as 5 attachments on that LMG. The next tier is get 35 kills using the FR556. Now this was actually recently reworded. It used to say get 35 kills using a burst rifle, which you could put the burst attachment on the FAL, for example, and use that, but now they just want you to get the kills with the 556, the FR556, which is the only naturally organic burst rifle in the assault rifle class. The next tier is going to ask you to get 70 kills with 5 attachments on a DMR. Again, just put 5 attachments on there and get your 70 kills, very straightforward. Tier 6 was reworded recently as well. It used to read get 15 long shot kills with an assault rifle using a long barrel attachment, but I suppose that was too difficult for players to understand given there are no barrels actually specifically called long barrels. So now it reads get 15 long shot kills on an assault rifle using an unsuppressed barrel attachment. So I imagine that means you can put any barrel that isn't an integrated suppressor on an assault rifle and it will count towards the challenge, but before you did have to use a longer barrel than was standard on your weapon. So you couldn't use a shorter barrel, you had to use an actually physically longer barrel on your assault rifles for kills to track towards this challenge, though I'm not sure how that works anymore as I finished it before it was reworded. The 7th tier challenge is going to ask for 10 headshots with 5 attachments on a sniper rifle. The 8th tier challenge will ask you to get 10 melee kills using the fast melee perk on any weapon, and this is where I discovered that the throwing knife has a hidden secret ability, so you'll have to check out that video in the description down below. But for now, I'll just let you know, don't use the throwing knife on your class while you're trying to complete this challenge. And the final tier is going to ask for 25 hipfire kills while using any laser sight attachment. Once you've completed all of those challenges, you'll finally unlock the M91 Old Wounds light machine gun that you can head to your armory and equip on your class. This one is going to have 5 attachments on it like every other legendary variant, including the M91 heavy barrel, which will increase your damage range, your bullet velocity, and your recoil control at the loss of ADS speed and movement speed. You'll have a scout combat optic built in, which will increase your zoom level to 3.25 times, and it will decrease your aim down sight speed. You'll have the Forge Tac Stalker stock, which will increase your aiming stability but reduce your aim walking movement speed. The bipod underbarrel, which will increase your recoil control when you are crouched or prone. And you'll also have a 150 round belt, increasing your magazine ammo capacity by 50 rounds, but it will reduce your ADS speed and your movement speed once again. So for a total attribute count, you are increasing your damage range, you're increasing your bullet velocity, increasing recoil control, aiming stability, crouch prone recoil control, and your magazine ammo capacity, but you are losing 3 aim down sight speed, 2 movement speed, and aim walking movement speed. So you are suffering a lot in terms of mobility. So as an LMG, the M91 is naturally very slow, but the Old Wounds doubles down with an even further decrease to your movement, and aim down sight speeds in favor of increased range, stability, and magazine size. I'd say that the highlight of this variant is actually the M91 heavy barrel. This is naturally a very, very late unlock for the M91. We're talking after level 40, so it would take a long time to naturally use the M91 and unlock this special barrel, and it improves your muzzle velocity, your range, and your accuracy. In the actual in-game description of this barrel, it is said that this barrel is designed to better hold down positions, and I could say the same for the Old Wounds variant just in general. I would recommend that you consider this variant to actually be a mounted machine gun for the most part. You are always at an advantage when you're stationary, especially if you're crouched or prone, and you are firing first. You always want to get first shots on target with this one. Not to mention the additional 50 rounds in every magazine, it will allow you to pour more lead downstream before ever having to reload. So you want to have this thing stationary and just pouring lead at people as they come around corners, as they come to an objective point, so on and so forth. Changing positions is when you are the most vulnerable because assault rifles, SMGs, shotguns, and even the other LMGs, they'll likely outperform you in close range combat and in most cowboy quick draw scenarios where you come around the corner and the other guy comes around the corner and you both pull your gun at the same time. They're going to kill you almost every single time because this gun is so slow because of all those attachments. It is for this reason that I would recommend you find a perch overlooking an objective or a high traffic area very early on in the game and then hold that position and pound enemies as they come towards you. Unrelated to the gameplay note, the cosmetic aspect of this variant currently appears to be broken in-game, so the Old Wounds does feature a very cool digital gray camouflage with the silhouette of a soldier who's very reminiscent of the Modern Warfare 2 box art character, and I believe I've also seen Simon Ghost Riley in the background of the art on this camouflage. It's a really cool camo. But unfortunately, the camouflage will not appear in-game no matter what I do. It only appears in the menus when you spawn in with the M91 Old Wounds. You get the basic M91 camouflage, which is a little disappointing. But moving into the final verdict, the M91 Old Wounds grants the player access to some very effective attachments very early on, if they are used in the proper setting. If the slow, stationary, dare I say, camp-friendly playstyle doesn't suit you, this variant probably won't be for you. However, when the variant is used properly, the M91 can absolutely shred enemies, and I would recommend that you give it a shot because the LMGs in Call of Duty Modern Warfare, they really are underrated. They are incredibly powerful, really contentious with the assault rifles, honestly, when they're used properly. The M91 Old Wounds is officially B tier for me because the weapon, to be its most effective, you will have to change your playstyle a little, and those A tier and S tier weapons, they're going to be really good regardless of how you use them. This one, you do have to acclimate yourself to the weapon a little, and that is why it is B tier. But I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Let me know what you think of the M91 Old Wounds in the comment section down below. Hit the like button if you haven't already, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.